It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday we was shaking the Monday morning blues with the Do Time crew, and we talked about those well-meaning phrases that they say can quietly damage your kids. Now, this was a hilarious conversation yesterday as we went down this list and we weighed in on whether we felt these phrases were damaging or not. Well, they started with, "You're so," well, if you're going to say you're so lazy or silly or, then, excuse me. Then, okay, we might, that might do some damage to your kids. Sometimes, when you make a parent mad and they say you're so-and-so, it can damage your kids. So based on what you say, that one is probably correct. The other one, "I'm so disappointed in you." Now this one we were like, there's nothing wrong with that. How else are you supposed to relay that you're not happy with what your child has done or is doing? Yeah, it should be safe enough to say, "I'm so disappointed in you." If you don't want me to say, "I'm so-and-so," then I'm going to need to say, "I'm so disappointed in you," so that I don't end up saying, "You're so-and-so," right? Right. All right. They also don't want us to say, "I'm proud of you." Now, their reasoning behind this one was, well, if we say we're so proud of them, then they won't validate themselves. Now, I don't know how that fits in. That makes no sense to me, but that's what supposedly the experts say. You're not supposed to say, "I'm proud of you." I think that should be something safe to say. We should let our children know when we are happy with what we're doing, or what they're doing rather. I don't know about some of these things. Now, if you do this, you can get that. Now that is based on how you say it. I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was Vivian who yesterday said bribery, and Lady Tamika talked about that. If we're gonna, reward them for doing something bad, or if we're going to give them something so that they could do something that they're supposed to be not doing, such as if you are having a temper tantrum all over this grocery store floor, and I lean down and I say, "Well, if you get up, I'll give you some candy." No, now that is where these experts are absolutely correct. No, there's no bribery. Get up off this floor because you're not supposed to be on that floor. That makes sense. However, if we're talking about rewarding them for the things that they do well, then, as a parent, you have to develop your own reward system. Everybody does not reward their children for getting good grades because they're supposed to get good grades. But do we reward them for graduation? That's a whole different story. That's an accomplishment. So it's based on your own reward system. And we should have something. We should have something. Because listen, when we get older, let a year go by and we have not heard from our superiors. Yeah, we definitely want that raise. We definitely want that good review. We definitely want that increase. So listen, it's the same thing. So based on your merit system, it has to be something logical. Definitely not a bribe. Please do not get in the habit of that. Yeah, because we've all seen that go down. Yes. So those are some of the things that the experts say that if we say can, secretly, quietly damage our kids. So it's a matter of opinion, Well, we had our switch tip yesterday. Aim to be correct. And again, it kind of goes with our conversation. Aim to be correct. Those are the things that you should be doing. Aim to live right. Aim to be correct in the way you think. Aim to be correct in the way you behave. These ways should always be striving to do the things of God. And we know the things of God are correct. So we need to make sure we are focusing on doing the right thing. Because listen, when I even think about when the Bible tells us that there will be many that say, Lord, Lord, did not do this in your name, did not do that in your name. That is some scary business right there. When it says he will slam the door in your face. Yes. Say, get away from me, you workers of iniquity. I know you not. Man, that's a hard reality. And let me tell you something. You can't come back from that one. No, because he's going to say to the left. And that's it for you. There's not going to be any more chances. So let's make sure that we are always aiming to be correct. Don't just do stuff. Always do things with a purpose, on purpose, for a purpose. Okay? That's how we spent our Monday. Well, today is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. We have another day that the Lord has brought us to, and we are so grateful to be together again this morning. So I am excited to have you with me, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to go get that healthy breakfast, to go tell somebody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on, and whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Cold storage, one man's inventions changed the world. This is Frederick McKinley Jones. Born on May 17, 1893 in Cincinnati, Jones faced a tough start. Orphaned at 9, he dropped out of school, but never stopped learning. By 19, he was a racing sensation and a self-taught mechanic. During World War I, he served as a sergeant and rewired his camp in France. After the war, Jones kept innovating, from portable X-ray machines to snowmobiles. In 1940, Jones co-founded Thermo King and developed the first automatic refrigeration system for trucks and trailers. This allowed food and perishable goods to be transported long distances without spoiling. During World War II, his refrigeration units preserved blood, medicine, and food for soldiers. Frederick McKinley Jones, the first African American in the American Society of Refrigeration Engineers, held 61 patents, including 40 for refrigeration technology, and revolutionized the food and medical industries. In 1991, he became the first African American to receive the National Medal of Technology and was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. So the next time you think of transporting fresh produce or life-saving medicine, remember Frederick McKinley Jones, the man who made it all possible. From cinema
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And it is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. I wonder what we got to talk about today. You know, if you want to talk about something, feel free to put it in that chat room. Now, you got to have something reasonable because we can't talk about just anything. Okay? All righty. Well, you know what? I want to talk about who's in the room. Now, you know that I am definitely excited to see you in the room, and I got to join you all. Let's see. Yeah, my device is not current with everybody who's on. So, I'm sorry if I miss you. Please don't take it personal. Maybe we can get this together in a minute. But let's say good morning to our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. And we're going to say good morning to our girl, Vivian. Good morning, Vivian. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we got a shout out all the way from Kenya, Africa. Yeah. Good morning, Evans. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. And we got a shout out from, Serge. Good morning, Serge. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And our lady Tamika is in the room. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we got to give a shout out to the ladies that hold us down every single morning. And we got to say good morning to Shantice. Hey, Shantice. Good morning. And our girl, Anika. Good morning. How are you, Anika? If it weren't for those two, we would not have our Facebook Live, our YouTube Live. We would not have our videos or our pictures. Yeah. So, and now that we got this video thing down where we don't, have it all interrupted, we have a ball with our videos. So I just want to give a shout out to the ladies. All righty. You know what we do on Tuesday? We have some arbitrary list. And this morning, we have things you should never store in your bedroom. Now, in your bedroom closet. Wow. Okay. Now, I am definitely interested in seeing this. Now, I don't know whether you would agree or disagree. And I want you to shout out each time you agree with one of these things, okay? All right, let's see. They say when it comes to organizing your home, the bedroom closet ends up being the ground zero for your clutter. But there are certain things that they say we should definitely not keep in our bedroom closet. So let's see, what is that? Shoes. Wow. They say storing shoes in your bedroom closet may seem like a natural choice, but this can quickly create a cluttered pile of footwear on the floor. Oh, so they say for a tidier and more functional Solution: try storing shoes near the front door. Ah, wow. Or in the coat closet. So come on, give me a shout out. If you give me a thumbs up, if you agree with these suggestions, or a thumbs, wait, I got to do the thing. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Let's do that. If you agree or disagree. All righty. Pet supplies. That's the one thing they say you should never keep in your bedroom closet. They say storing any type of pet items like food, litter boxes, or toys in your bedroom closet can be unhygienic. Wow. They say there's a chance that these items will have odors, allergens, and hair that can get on your clothes. Wow. So they say create a dedicated pet area outside of your bedroom to store these items instead. All righty. So pet supplies. Are we agreeing with the pet supplies? Let's see. Tamika says, I have way too many shoes to put them at the front door. Anika says, yep, thumbs up for pet supplies. Ketty says, thumbs up to pet supplies. Tamika says, pet supplies, nope. Litter will spill a hot mess in the closet. Absolutely, I agree. Dirty laundry. Who keeps dirty laundry in the closet with their clean clothes? Okay, y'all, come on. Come on now. They say it might be convenient, but storing it can lead to unwanted odors. Yeah. They say while it might be tempting, no. Get your hamper out of sight in a closed space, and definitely not in your closet, so that the circulation of air can definitely benefit. Wow. Come on, y'all. I hope ain't nobody keeping no dirty laundry in no closet. Good morning, Terrence. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. And Anika says, nope to shoes at the front closet. Too many, only the big boots are there. And Tamika says, okay, that's nasty. Clean and dirty don't mix. No. Ketty also agrees, thumbs down. Who does that? Nah. Come on, y'all. Extra linens. They say you should not keep in your bedroom closet. They say, if you have a dedicated space for your linens and are still storing extras in your bedroom closet, it might be time to reassess your supply. A good rule of thumb is to keep 2 or 3 linen sets per bed and 2-3 towels per person. Towels and bedding can be bulky, so it's best to only hold on to what you need to keep your closet organized and available. So, yeah. I don't know. I always got to have a bunch of linen. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. What y'all think about that one? Let's see. Terrence says, nasty, dirty clothes in the closet. And Tamika says, linen goes in the linen closet. Absolutely. Why do I have linen in my clothes closet? Don't I have clothes in my clothes closet? Good morning, Miss Charlene. How are you? We're talking this morning about things they say you should never keep in your bedroom closet. Let's see what else they talking about. All right, ladies. Handbags. Wow. They say keeping your handbags here is a fast track to a messy closet. Since handbags are items you typically grab as you leave the house, more convenient to store them near the front entrance. All right. Makes sense. Keepsakes in your bedroom closet. No. They say since these items don't need to be regularly accessed, the bedroom closet isn't the place for them. Instead, tuck them away in a basement or an attic. Absolutely. That's what I say. Let's see what the room is saying. Anika says, yes, linens are in its own closet. Yes. And Tamika says, I have a bin for extra handbags. Okay. I don't even carry a handbag. You know, I've never carried handbags. Nope. Kenny is saying thumbs up. And Tamika says there's a space for keepsakes. Absolutely. And definitely not in your bedroom. Anika says, yes, keepsakes in storage areas. Absolutely. Who keeps keepsakes in your bedroom? I don't know. Bathroom supplies. Did they take a survey and find that people are doing this stuff? Because who does this stuff? Why are my bathroom supplies in my bedroom closet? Well, they say, because these items are often prone to spills and leaks, which can damage your clothes, keep these things in the bathroom. Voila. Who does this stuff? Who are they surveying? Oh my goodness gracious. Listen, what is the room saying? Bathroom supplies. Yes, you don't keep them in the bath, in the closet. Duh. Yes, bathroom supplies go in the bathroom. Listen, in your bathroom, you got medicine cabinets, you've got vanities. Yo, what are you doing? You've got storage things you can buy. Why would bathroom things be in your bedroom closet? Listen, if your house is that small, then you need to reassess your living quarters. That's all I'm saying. All right. Seasonal decorations. I'm gonna start surveying some of these things here. Oh, they say though that snowman figurine or pumpkin candle may steal a show, keeping them in your closet takes a valuable space, and put it where your keepsakes are, in your storage area. I'm gonna be looking at a snowman in my closet with my summer clothes or with my turtlenecks. Come on, y'all. Give me a break. What's my due time viewer saying? Terrence says, we know who they are. Absolutely, Terrence. I definitely say the same thing. Same thing, okay? Anika says, thumbs down. This must be a list for wrapping paper. It goes with bags and tissue paper. Absolutely. Absolutely. Outerwear. Coats, jackets, and scarves are bulky items. Keeping them by the door makes it easily accessible. Yes, it makes it easily accessible. That's why they're called outerwear. You got to have a coat closet or something where your coat closet is near, or an extra bedroom or an extra coat closet or something. You got to have that there. No. Too many hangers. All right. They say too many hangers, whether they're plastic or whether they're metal. If you don't need them, get rid of them. Donate them to a recycling place or give them away to somebody. But how many of us have a whole lot of extra hangers? No, not at all. Let's see. What else did they say? Exercise equipment. in the bedroom closet. All right. So they say put them underneath your bed, in the spare room, or the garage. I just need to know who you needed to tell this to. Terrence said, hey, it's some other people that need these things. Okay. Tamika says, really? There are bins for wrapping paper. It goes with bags and tissue paper. Absolutely. Tamika says the coat closet is near the front door. Yes, most times if you have a front closet, it is near the front door. Oh my goodness gracious. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Did we really need this list here today? Exercise equipment. Yes, Kenny, I'm with you. Thumbs down. That needs to go not in your bedroom closet. Listen, the bottom line is, for most of us, we don't have enough room in the closet for the clothes. So we wouldn't be putting storage of keepsakes. What's that? Seasonal items, dirty clothes. We wouldn't be keeping those things. Pet items. We wouldn't be keeping those things in the bedroom closet because we ain't got enough space to begin with. So we've already run out of room. All right. All righty. Oh my goodness. All righty. It's time for some news. What are we talking about today, y'all? All righty. It wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on yesterday in the news. Yeah, it was kind of slow. Let's see what we got here. So, if y'all want to talk about something, let me know. All right. Well, remember, we had this whole murder situation out at the Marcy Correctional Facility. Remember the inmate Robert Brooks, who was beaten to death by those prison guards. Well, they say 1 of 6 indicted on murder charges. He's pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter. Now, this Christopher Warith, 36 years old, accepted a plea deal at a court hearing on Monday. And he will now get 15 years. Now, I want y'all to tell me whether y'all feel this is enough. Okay, so he's going to get 15 years in state prison. What is going on here? All righty. He's going to get 15 years in state prison. Now, the interesting thing is they asked him some serious questions during this hearing. Now, they asked him, they said several of his internal organs were bruised during this beating. They said his hyoid, I don't know what bone that is, was fractured. His thyroid cartilage was ripped. He also died as a result of repeated restriction to his airways, causing severe brain damage. And finally, he died by choking on his own blood. Now, they said the prosecutor asked if he used force and then lied about it. He said yes. They asked, you realize that these repeated assaults caused serious physical injury to Mr. Brooks and resulted in his death. He said yes. And all he got, well, they say he can get 15 years. Now, he hasn't gone for the official sentencing yet. Now, I'm sorry, 15 years, and you said that several of his internal organs were bruised, some bone was fractured, his thyroid cartilage was ripped. He also died as a result of repeated restriction to his airways, causing severe brain damage, and finally he died by choking on his own blood. Oh, they said they did ask him. Wait, hold on. Yeah, they asked him if he used a chokehold on Mr. Brooks and beat him while he was in the emergency room, including hitting him in the groin. He said yes. What 15 years? What 15 years? So they're saying that this 15 years, he could be getting more time in jail than he even spent as a CO. Now, he spent over 10 years as a CO. Now, the son to Mr. Brooks, he says that now he'll know what it'll feel like to be on the other side of the bars, dealing with those COs. And no, I don't agree. I personally do not agree. I do not feel there's a threat. Because let me tell you something, they're going to take care of their own up in there. Yeah, especially if they send him to a New York prison. They need to send him out of state. That's what I do believe. He does not need to spend time here in New York. None of them. Because their COs, their fellow COs, are going to protect them. Because they know once they get on the inside, it ain't the COs they have to worry about. It's the inmates they have to worry about. And if they are not protected by their fellow COs, I'd be really, really surprised. I'm not believing that that's a threat. That's a threat. But, Mr. Brooks' son feels that, what? Once he gets in there with the COs and he'll see how COs treat inmates, not if they know he was a CO. No, and good and well that's going down. First of all, they didn't put his name out here. They put his name out here. Number two, when he goes up in a New York State prison, they're going to be flagging him. They will. He's going to be in some type of little side spot. He ain't got nothing to worry about. He's going to be protected unless they don't protect him. Yeah, that's the only thing that I can see. I don't see the COs giving him a hard time at all. I don't know. What do you say? What do you say? Let me see what you got here. Hey, AJ, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Terrence says they're going to send him where he will be okay. They're going to look out for him. I agree, Terrence. Yeah, this stuff don't pose no threat to him at all. At all, and at all. Let's see, what else are we talking about? Well, they have added 2 more countries to the do not travel list for United States citizens and peoples. So they say as the summer is coming in, more people are going to be traveling, and 2 more places that have joined the list is North Korea and Burkina Faso. Now, I've never even heard of the second one, but that's somewhere in Africa, they say. But they're saying that the United States is advising against travel in North Korea because they're saying that there's risk of arrest, long-term detention, and the threat of wrongful detention. Now, what's in North Korea? I'm sorry. When you talk about vacationing for Stephanie, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to have some fun, or there's some sights to see, or I just don't want to go somewhere to be going somewhere. And to go to North Korea is not costing $5. So I'm not just packing up my clothes, going to no North Korea. Who's going to North Korea other than the people who have people in North Korea? But they say risk of arrest, long-term detention, and the threat of wrongful detention. They're telling you, stay away from. They say the United States does not maintain close diplomatic connections with North Korea. In other words, they can't help you get out of there. Nope. And they say they are warning us not to travel, and it cannot provide direct help to United States citizens. Told you. In the case of emergencies. I told you. That's why I tell you, stay out of there. They don't have no diplomatic connections. That means that they can't make no phone call and plead with anybody to let you out, like they've been doing for some of these other people who have gone to these places and they have been detained. So don't say you haven't been warned. Now they're saying that Burkina Faso, I hope I'm saying that right, they say due to terrorism, crime, and kidnapping in West Africa, the people have experienced a spike in terrorist operations. They say terrorist attacks go on anywhere with little or no warning, and you don't want to be there if this goes down. Well, listen, they're going buck wild all over the place. All over the place. Well, they are reminding us that the other places are Yemen, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, Ukraine, Haiti, Venezuela, Somalia, Russia, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Why are we going to these places? We're not going for vacation. No. Why are you going to these places for vacation? What's there in Afghanistan? Listen, you only go to Afghanistan if you got Afghanistani people, if that's where you come from. They've been warring over there forever. Iraq, Iran, Ukraine. You going over to Ukraine now? Yo. I hope not. That's all I'm saying. I hope that there's certain things that they don't have to tell you to stay away from. Listen, at this moment, you don't even want to take a plane to Florida because you don't know if you even going to make it there in the air. Going there to these places here make no sense to me. Absolutely. Now, I'm about seeing the world. Like I always say to y'all, my mother would not go anywhere. Oh my goodness gracious. If we went somewhere, it had to be by ground because she wasn't flying. And she meant that thing and took it to her grave. She said, I ain't flying, Stephanie. Don't talk to me about getting on no airplane. I ain't getting up in the airplane. I don't care where you want to go. I won't go. And she didn't. 78 years, she refused to get up in a plane, and she did not. And I tell all the time, I'm sorry, there's just more than the Bahamas in this world. I want to see other places in this world, but I do not want to see Iraq, Syria, Ukraine, Venezuela, Somalia, the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm sorry, I just don't want to see those places. They ain't got to worry about me spending my money to get there. Plain and simple as that. Okay, what else are we talking about? Mm-mm-mm. Oh, we got to talk about this one. We got to talk about this one. So, out in Alabama, there's a 4-year-old little girl who mom dropped off at school. And when she went to pick her up, the teacher brought her to the mother in their arms. She was slobbering at the mouth, and the teacher said she's heavy and handed her to her mother and said to the mother, we probably need to take her to the ER. Okay, so they took her to the ER. They said that her blood alcohol content was 0.29, over 4 times the legal limit for adults to drive. They could not tell this mother, they have not told the mother, why this child was drunk. Now, here's the thing. They say that something about alcohol. Now, the interesting part is they're not saying like liquor, alcohol. They're saying she spent 2 days in the ICU, and the doctor said that she had ingested a large amount of ethanol, and that's that ethyl alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. Why would she in the school? Because if mama took her to the school and she was fine, that means she had to ingest this alcohol while she was at school. Because you know good and well, had she been dropped off like that, oh, they would have hurry up and called them the parent back. They said the mother said she was slobbering and couldn't walk on her own. She had to be carried and handed to the mother. And you ain't call the police? Oh, no. So they said the toxicology report, they don't know how she gained access to the substance. Who keeps alcohol at the school, daycare center, nursery, whatever you call it? Who keeps alcohol there? And who kept it where she could get so much, she ingested so much that she was that kind of drunk? So they say that ethanol is found in skincare products, hand sanitizers, food packaging systems, perfume, and more. So they didn't say she drank hand sanitizer. They're saying that this is the stuff that ethanol is in, which means that if the child got to it and ingested this, then this could answer as to what happened. But again, do y'all have hand sanitizer? So much hand sanitizer that she's going to have a 0.29, blood alcohol level? Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. So parents are still trying to find out exactly what went on. Oh my goodness gracious. Where's my due time crew? Where's my due time crew? Because we got to talk about this stuff here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Pastor Vinny. I am well, thanks, Pastor Vinny. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. Thank God. I am very good.
Good, and good. We're missing the Mrs. this morning. Please give her our love.
You know, she got to make the donuts.
That's right. Absolutely. Oh my goodness gracious. Let me see if there's some comments. Good. Thank you. Tell her we send our love back. Okay. Let's see if we got before you and I start talking. Okay. Terrence says if they have alcohol there, that means that's not the first time that's ever happened. You know, if they have alcohol, that means that they definitely left it out. That there is a definite no. That's a definite no. All right, Pastor Vinny, we've got our first story. We've talked about this Robert Brooks inmate who was murdered by a host of COs, and the first CO, first prison guard, was indicted on murder charges, and he pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter. Now I'm going to read this back one more time so our other Due Time crew members can hear this and we can comment on it. They asked him while he was at the hearing, Christopher Warith, who's 36 years old, they asked him, did you use a chokehold on Mr. Brooks and beat him while in the emergency room, including hitting him in the groin? He said yes. They asked him if he used force and then lied about it. He said yes. They asked, do you realize that these repeated assaults caused serious physical injury to Mr. Brooks and resulted in his death? He said yes. They said that several of his internal organs were bruised. They say that his hyoid bone was fractured. I don't know what bone that is. His thyroid cartilage was ripped, Pastor Vinny, ripped. He also died as a result of repeated restriction to his airways, thus the chokehold question, causing severe brain damage. And finally, he died by choking on his own blood. Now, they say that he might get as much as 15 years in state prison and 5 years post-release supervision for the manslaughter charge, but the sentencing is August 4th. Please tell me if 15 years is good enough.
Not when you, excuse me, this is his job to make sure that the inmates are safe, not beat up, you know, and that's the problem. When these guys get together, and maybe Mr. Brooks was unruly, or maybe there was a situation, but you said there were like 6 of them. Did I hear that right?
No, it was up to 10 of them.
Up to 10 of them.
10.
Each of them grabbed a limb. They couldn't restrain him without all of that. You know, they couldn't just restrain him. You know, put him in a chair.
He was restrained, Pastor Vinny. Wait, he was restrained. When they showed the video, he was handcuffed at the time. When they were kicking him and beating him, he was handcuffed at the time.
Wow. Yeah, 15 years is nothing. No, that's like hitting a piñata.
Yeah.
That's like
You're right.
A piñata with a baseball bat. No,
yep.
15 years.
You're absolutely right.
It's not adequate. It's not adequate. You know. Wow.
Pastor Vinny, this is crazy. No, 15 years?
No.
Mm-mm.
You take a life, you lose your life.
By far.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know what, these situations, there are 10 of them, 10 correction officers. 10 of them. Nobody could say, listen, this is bad, stop. Nobody could say stop.
No. Right. No, this is terrible.
It's ridiculous. No, eat all of them.
It is.
all of them should get life for participating,
Right.
or even for being in the
Right.
room and saying nothing. No.
Absolutely.
It is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
And like you said, so they can send them to the
And that-
country club.
Come on.
Send them to
Come
the
on.
country club
Come
where you
on.
can choose your dessert, choose two
Right.
entrees and a side.
Right. Right.
No,
Right.
no, this
Oh,
not,
my goodness.
It does not even address the crime.
No, no, no. This man lost his life, like you said, at the hands of multiple people. They
Yeah.
ask you, did you put him in a chokehold and hit him in the groin? You said yes. My thing is, then you contributed to his death.
Yes.
And all you get is 15 years? No, I agree with you. His life is gone. Every one of them should receive life. Plain and simple as that. Oh my. All right,
Yeah.
Pastor Vinny, let's talk about the little girl who got dropped off to school in Alabama. And when her mama came to pick her up, she was being handed to her in the arms of a teacher who said, oh, she's heavy. And she was slobbering at the mouth and told the mother, I think you need to take her to the emergency room.
My mother, Miss Eileen Estelle Joseph Stokes, she would have put that little baby down and went to thumping on that teacher.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Okay. You know.
How long has she been in this condition? How long
Right.
has she been?
Right.
What are you waiting
Right.
for me to come? Waiting for her to die? Listen,
Right.
with
Right.
here's my thinking about that. With COVID and in the school there's so many germs that there's a plethora of cleaning supplies all around that place. Who doesn't have hand sanitizer in their classroom?
Right.
They all
Right.
do. They all do. And it's not no little
Right.
that you pass around the
Right. It's the huge one.
Yeah.
Right.
They got the pump bottle.
Right. Right.
Pump bottle.
Right.
And and it's accessible to the kids because that's how they train them. When you come out of when you do this, make sure you clean your hands. Make sure there's signs all over the school. Clean your hands. So
Right.
what would it take for a little kid, pump it up, and just lick their hands? What would it take?
Right.
It would take
Right.
no time at all. Again,
Right.
forced supervision.
Right.
Forced supervision. Yeah,
Right.
you can't
Right.
keep your eyes on everybody, but there's some things that they need to have their head on a swivel to make sure that these kids are not abusing
Right.
these things.
Right.
You have to
Right.
have
Right.
them. You have to have them in the classroom, but it takes more supervision. Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I
More
agree. Where were you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where were you that you didn't see this ingesting? And at what point did you realize that she was slumped over slobbering? Serge
Yeah.
says they're not going to give them. Oh, Serge is going backwards. Okay. Serge says they're not going to give them life because they're not going to make an example out of him. However, it's been on our side of the fence. Oh, you better believe there would have been no brainer to give them life. Absolutely, Serge. Had it been on our side of the fence, they wouldn't have sneezed hard before they would have been like life. Absolutely. Good morning, Majesty. How are you? Thank you for joining us. All right, Pastor Vinny, we're gonna see what your co-do timers have to say. Let's say good morning to Shantice.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm well. Thank you. I'm well. All right. So we got the first of the 10 prison guards who is facing time for the beating death of Mr. Robert Brooks. Now he's only getting 15 years after multiple things that they found that contributed to his death, as well as this particular gentleman's participation. Is 15 years good enough?
Absolutely not. I watched the video. I want to know, is this the cop that was shoving I don't know what that was, they shoving in his mouth down his throat? Or was this one of the cops that was hitting him from behind, like kicking him in the back or punching him in the back, whatever they were doing? Like Pastor Vinny said, that's literally what happened. They literally had him at every side at once, jumping him. They were jumping him. I can't even, I'm like, whatever crime you committed, again, it's not your job to take matters into your own hands. It was disgusting. 15 years is nothing compared to what he needs to get. And I feel like they're gonna keep playing, and there's gonna be some type of prison uprising because there are still more inmates than there are COs. So if all these inmates decide to say, you know what, I really don't care what happens, they can't kill all of us. Whatever protection you got in there is not gonna matter once the inmate to CO ratio is understood that one always outweighs the other. And there was just a story yesterday someone posted about a cop who killed somebody's son, and the father ran the cop over and killed him. People are getting tired. They're tired, and they're not caring about their fate because all the satisfaction they want is you got. I'm gonna make sure you got. That's the mentality. Whether I get life, whether I get the electric chair, the lethal injection, I don't care. I just want to make sure you got. And they're gonna keep playing until even the warden is gonna get it. It's not gonna matter. 15 years, it's like a joke. It's so you giving him 15 years is equivalent to us hearing he's suspended with pay.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. That's crazy. Excuse me. Terrence says, I can bet you that the other guards will get less years due to this fact that they said they used him as a sacrifice. We'll see. Because who are you going to pin the ultimate death on?
All of them need to.
You ain't got nobody to pin that on. But that's what I'm saying. If all of y'all contributed to the death, then all of you should be charged with murder.
Right.
Period. Majesty says, listen, they might not make it home, so let them sit for 15 years. Okay, that's a thought.
Wow.
That's gonna be a scary 15 years. That's a thought, Majesty. That's for sure. All right. That's true. All right, Shantice, you got the Alabama mama who drops her daughter off to school and who picks her up in the arms of the teacher, slobbering and drunk. And nobody has an answer as to how she ingested enough whatever to get her to that point.
That teacher would have been in someone's arms, slobbering. And why are you not calling me, telling me what to do? Because something happened to your child.
Right.
So sorry, but
right.
In the meantime, we rushed. So why? What? So what if I was late picking her up? She still would have been here. What if I couldn't pick her up and now I'm trying to call family or friends to see who can come get her? So whoever I would have sent, this is how they would have received her. And you sitting there, what are you
Right.
doing while she's sitting there slobbering? Eating your coffee
Right.
cake?
Right.
What is
Right.
happening? Like they play too many games. No one has answers. So not only did you not rush my child to the hospital, but ain't nobody in here investigating either. So y'all really ain't doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't calling no
Right.
EMTs,
Right.
nor do you have any answers for me. Everybody gonna be slobbering. This is now the universal uniform for this school. Everybody slobbers on themselves. They playing way too many games with people. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're lucky that was the right mama. Baby, had there been another
That's
mama,
what I'm saying. They
would have been a mama like
forgot the baby was laying there slobbering. Like
Yeah.
Pastor Vinny said,
Yeah.
okay, can't hand me her real quick, please. Or the baby would have got knocked down because it wouldn't have been no hand me over. Because all these things would have been rushing through the average black mama's mind all at once.
Right.
All
right,
she would have saw
right.
was, you gotta get got. I'm gonna take care of the child later. But you gotta get got. That's I don't understand why people play so many games.
That's it.
Mm.
She would have
Right.
needed a gurney. She would have needed her own gurney.
Exactly.
Right. It's true. If that was the average mother, that wouldn't have gone down like that. That her and the baby would have been carried at the same time. That wouldn't have gone down like that. No, nobody would. No, that was just a look of the drawer. That you got that response when she took her to the emergency room, and they didn't have to send an EMT back to the place regardless of whether they were picking up the baby or one of the staff members. Yeah.
Yep.
That is not the average response. Where's Pastor KL? Good morning, Pastor KL.
Good morning. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good morning, my brother.
All right. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, Pastor KL. We got these 10 correction officers facing some charges. Well, the first one has already hit the hearing room. He's pled guilty to manslaughter, and they are giving him potentially 15 years. Is 15 years enough?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, so I missed it. Did you say he was already handcuffed?
He was already handcuffed while they were beating him. He was handcuffed already, and it was torturous. Oh my goodness! Did we show that here? No, that was before.
No.
Yeah, that was before we could show it. Well, they literally beat him to death while he was handcuffed, and several broken bones, ripped cartilage. This particular correction officer, they say put him in a chokehold while he was in the put him in chokehold and beat him while he was in the emergency room. What in the world? Hit him in the groin and beat him up while he was in the emergency room.
What did they think he was, Bruce Lee? That he was going to beat all 10 of them? I mean, I just you hit a man in the groin, he already down. Why is everybody else hitting you? First of all, you in handcuffs. Why are you hitting me in handcuffs? You know, you don't know which blow killed him, so everybody should get a piece of it. Everybody should do life.
Yep.
Everybody should do life. You know, in fact, you know what? It should go even further. They should get the death penalty. They killed somebody. They should get the death penalty.
Yeah.
This to me should not even be up for discussion. Everybody on this panel has said it, and I can't imagine any. See, let me tell you why they're pleading out. Because if they hit a jury, they're done. If they go before a jury, they are done. Period. It's not even, there's nothing to even think about. And that's the problem. Because this is his easy way out. But the right judge can take care of this.
Yeah.
white judge can take care of this. And already, if they're talking about he can get 15 years, I hope that come August 4th, God spares our life, he hits more than 15 years.
Right.
Because everyone has said, we don't know what blow. They don't know which blow. You admitted to putting him in a chokehold. They said he died from multiple things, but this last particular thing they say he died from was, I think, choking on his own blood. Choking on his own blood. So, no, you don't know. You got 10 people beating on you. Absolutely, all 10 will go down. Period. All right, Pastor KL, out in Alabama, they have a mother who picked up her 4-year-old, completely intoxicated, in the arms of the teacher, passing her to her mother, and telling her mother she's heavy and she's slobbering at the mouth when you pick up your daughter, despite the fact that you walked her into the school. They don't know what happened. All they know is that the doctor said she spent 2 days in intensive care. She ingested ethanol, equal to ethyl alcohol.
Ethyl,
ethyl. Thank you. Ethyl alcohol. So, how would this go down in the Papa's world?
Well, I'm curious to find out, what was the child black? Because
yes,
wow,
Sure was.
So then the teacher's still alive?
That's why we're amazed.
Just barely.
That's my question. I mean, does the teacher first of all, if you tell me, come get your child, she heavy, why are you carrying my child? And how long you been carrying my child? The child don't get heavy once you pick him up the first time, unless it's a fat child. And if it's a fat child, you ain't picking up the child. So now the child is heavy, that means you've been carrying around my child for quite a while in this condition. No, the parent couldn't be black. You know, not black. You know, maybe you know, it was biracial or something, and the other side, it couldn't be black.
Nah.
I'm just saying, it could not be black. It could, wait. I know I can't say certain things, but it could not be a Negro. A Negro could be. You know what I mean? It could not be a Negro. Because if you handed me my child,
He was African
while my
American.
child is foaming at the mouth and heavy, listen, little Khadijah, sit down in the chair for a minute. You already fat.
Right,
I gotta take care of some business over here. You've been like this for an hour already. You'll be all right. I gotta take care of some business because we're going to the hospital together. All of us. Me, you, and Mrs. Link. We all going to the hospital together. I'm just not understanding.
Wait, Pastor KL, because the mama would have got mad at the child. Now the child is sick. What's wrong with you that somebody got to carry you? Only black kids get in trouble for being sick.
Get out and walk. There's nothing wrong with you. Get out and walk. Wipe your face. Wipe your face. Get out and walk. Let me deal with Miss Ting Ting.
You got people over here thinking you can't walk. I don't even get up.
Right.
Only we get in trouble for being sick.
And you still gonna do your homework, and it better not be wet.
Where's your pack of Kleenex that's supposed to be in your bag? Where's your Kleenex?
Oh,
Oh, Lord.
you.
Poor child.
Wait,
child?
Pastor KL, what's the teacher's name?
Ling.
Miss Tinkling.
What teachers you been around?
Listen, I'm just saying the teacher had to be Chinese. It had to be somebody that she wasn't scared to tell a black mama, come get this fat child because she foaming at the mouth. It had to be. She had to have ancient Chinese secret. Something.
Oh, Pastor KL. In the
My
name of
stomach
Jesus. Woo.
My stomach hurts. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. You know,
Well,
this is all I kept envisioning. I have 3 girls. All I could envision. I envisioned all of them in their daycare stages at 4 and picking up Shanti's, 5 years later picking up Shawnee's, and 8 years later picking up Tamasia. And somebody handing me my kid, and nobody warned me before I got there. That's all I thought about. I'm walking up in the school, and you standing like this, and I'm like, whose kid is that? Because that can't be mine. that ain't mine. Now I know I put a red shirt and a white pair of pants with her black sneakers on, but that ain't mine. That's somebody else's kid. Let's go sign my daughter out. Where is she? Shanti.
And she would have really done that.
I believe it.
She would have really
Shanti.
done that.
I dropped her off here. Excuse me. Miss Linkling.
It's tingling.
Miss Tingling. Miss Tingling.
That's worse.
Nah, y'all got the wrong kid. That's somebody else dressed their kid the same way I dressed mine this morning. Because I know that's not mine. You holding up in your arms right there, talking about she heavy and slobbering. Okay. Well, who's next? That's all I'm asking. Who's next? Because somebody gonna need to be resuscitated up in here, and it ain't gonna be me, and it ain't gonna be her. It's gonna be one of y'all.
But
there's nowhere in the world.
I keep saying, Pastor Steph, they worried about people running up in the school and still shooting up the school. I'm concerned about the parent that's gonna walk in and start slapping every adult they walk past. Because these faculty are just bugging out.
Yeah,
Forget
it
the
would
guns.
be on. It would definitely be on. Oh my goodness gracious. Woo, well, thank you so much. I done had 2 days where I couldn't breathe. Here, my stomach is killing me. It took me to all night to recover from yesterday's donkey.
Excuse me, I'm still traumatized. Don't be bringing that up.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we got a check-in from our Deacon Diallo. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for joining us. All right, we got video this morning. What we got? Stay tuned.
Blaming white cops for the killing of black kids. Instead, teach your black children to be obedient towards authority. I don't care. I don't care. When I was 15 years old, I'm walking down Hollis in Queens, and an Italian cop drove right by me, and I locked eyes with the cop, and we stared at each other. He drove by. My ego and his ego. True story. He comes around the block, jumps out the car, grabs me, and smashes me up against a brick wall. Takes out his Glock and puts his Glock to the back of my head. No cameras, no iPhones, no social media, no recordings. He says to me, watch, say something. And in that moment, I hear the voice of my mom and my father. Son, obey authority. Son, respect your elders. And in that moment, with that Glock pressed to my head, I got to make a decision. Either my ego is going to be strong, or my submission to authority is going to be stronger than my ego. If I let my ego in that moment be stronger than my mother's teachings to obey authority, then I'm hurled into eternity by a cop's bullet. Why? Because my ego was stronger than my submission. And I don't care if most of y'all are black. You need to teach your children to obey authority. We need to teach our sons and daughters to obey authority. We need to teach our children to not fight against authority, not fight against cops, not rebel. And you need to teach yourself, stop cheating on your taxes, stop bending your numbers. Watch, the Lord said, give back to Caesar what belongs to him. That is, be submitted to governmental authority.
Come on, God. What's happening? Okay.
All righty. That was pretty loaded. Pastor Vinny,
Mm.
give us some thought.
Well, first of all, my brother was all over the place. Stay with the. If you're talking to young people, stay with the young people, and put an exclamation point on it. Don't go to your taxes. Don't go. They don't mix. The message they was sharing with young people about obeying authority, good. Because a lot of us, that cop let him know that he was not better than that cop. He was not more prepared than that cop. That cop's whole job is to make sure that young black boys don't make it out of their communities. It's their job to make sure that we know who's the boss. You don't want to stare down no cop because he has a bigger gun than you have. Sometimes we just put ourselves in a situation where we can't get out of. What do they say? Don't write a check that you're behind can't cash. He was, is it right what the cop did? No, but he's the authority. He's the authority, and that young man could have lost everything. He could have lost everything. What did he say? No cameras, no witnesses. He would have been sentenced to a fiery eternity. For what? For nothing. For nothing.
All righty. A lot of scrutiny, Shantice, based on what this pastor said.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thought?
Well, I actually watched the whole sermon. And this is why sometimes I hate when people commentate, like they do their own commentary videos, because they just take a clip of the part that they want to talk about. So you took a clip where he merged. I think from what I can remember, his sermon was about respecting authority overall. And then he kind of started breaking it down into the two. So the clip that the guy chose to comment on is where he started merging, like overall. So it's like, I'm talking to the parents about making sure they teach their children authority. And parents, you need to make sure you're abiding by authority as well, but in this area. But there's been, like you said, Pastor Steph, a lot of scrutiny against this pastor in regards to this, because there have been a lot of Black Christian men stating how he's wrong for saying this to the people. And if you heard in this clip where he says, I don't care if you're Black, he has a predominantly Black congregation. So who is he going to be speaking to? Mm-hmm. The Black people. And when I finished listening to this and listening to the backlash he's been getting, I said, here's why there's a lot of backlash, because it's challenging your parenting skills. It's challenging how attentive you are to your children. If I'm saying to you, if I'm asking you, did you teach your child to obey authority? That's more pressure on you as a parent than the child, because who is supposed to be teaching the child? The parent. So if your child is out here, your child, again, could be in the right. Your child could be minding his business, walking the street. But like he said, I'm minding my business, walking the street. I'm locking eyes with a cop. Why are you sitting there challenging the cop silently? You know how stupid a lot of these cops are. So now when a cop gets out and puts his gun to your head, are you really all that flabbergasted? Are you really all that shocked? No, because you know how they are. They don't want to be challenged, because all they're doing is waiting for an opportunity to flex their authority. And that's why I thought it was very brilliant for him to be transparent and even put his own testimony in to show I know of what I'm speaking of, because I was that young knucklehead that even with the counsel my parents gave me, I still took that chance and challenged authority. So what is going to happen to the other young kid who is not getting that counsel? They're really good. I've had to speak to grown men about them challenging authority. And I'm like, bro, Why? Why did you have to say anything? Oh, because okay. So, do you want to be right or do you want to be alive? Which one? Because women are not even safe now. They don't want to be. If your infant looks at them crazy, they're ready to pull a gun out on them. Just stop. But again, because it's challenging you, you don't want the finger pointed at you. So now that's why you're mad. I didn't see anything wrong with what he said at all.
Okay. Pastor KL, what you got?
I didn't particularly see anything wrong with what he says. However, I thought he was crazy, because he wasn't a young man, and we've been beaten and harassed since slavery. So why would why would it be your testimony that your ego got in the way to go up against the cop? I just thought that he was stupid for even doing that. Now, I guess through his stupidity, he's learned, and he's trying to help other folks not be as stupid as he is. But we have so much history where authority, whether it be the light-skinned folks, the other side of the fence, is trying to kill us. To me, before you learn how to say good morning to your parents, those shouldn't be your first words. You should learn how to respect the authority, because when you get out in the street, they're going to test you. I don't care how well managed you are at home. If you're not teaching how to live on the outside, we're in trouble. We are definitely in trouble. And nowadays, these children don't care about your life. They don't care about their own life. They need to prove a point. And we have to be able to tell, like Shanti said, you want to be right or you want to be alive. They think that being right, they're going to still be alive. If I shoot you, that's the right thing to do, and because I'm going to be alive. But what I've learned in this generation is that this generation doesn't know how to fight. We back in the days with me and Benny, we go on the basketball court and we get into a fight. And then tomorrow we playing basketball together again. Today we go on the court and we get into an argument. Either Vinny or myself are shooting each other. And then when we go to jail, because we don't know how to get in fight, we gonna be little tickling. They're gonna be getting us because that's what we know. So now we ain't gonna be right, and it ain't gonna be tight. We gonna be in trouble.
I think he said he was
Absolutely.
15 when that happened. He was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Vivian says, I think it's a very good lesson to teach the children to respect authority, but I think the message was lost, but the story that he told respecting, he messed up with listening to the teachings of his parents when he decided to stare down that cop. And now because of the story, you decided to tell no one is focusing on the message. Anika says, indeed, this new generation lost respect for authority, adults, elderly, and it shows. They are all about self. He received scrutiny from the black man. There was some commentating behind this snippet of his message from a black man who, they heard, he shouldn't have, stared down the man, and, they're wrong, and, or he's wrong, the children are wrong. We should teach our children authority. First of all, here's the problem with these people who are commenting. A lot of them don't like authority themselves.
Amen.
So as it was said, yeah, you're going to miss the message. I don't care what the message was. Whether he told his personal story or whether he told somebody else's story, or if he didn't tell a story at all, they're missing the message because they don't have authority. And all they remember and all they think about is what was said. we've been enduring this from slavery, and did you forget about the this many years we've been enslaved, and did you forget that these cops killed this one, that one, and this one? And we know you're absolutely right, and not one person has said that they were right. But again, I too have said many times, keep yourself out of problems. If you do not set yourself up, there's a chance you may not get caught behind the 8 ball. Doesn't mean that everyone who has come in conflict with police officers have done something wrong. Absolutely not. But are you going to tempt the snake? Are you going to put your head in the lion's den? I don't, and that's where I stand. I consistently say, listen, stay out. You young, stay out of these people's cars. You riding around in the cars with a bunch of young guys, blasting music, smoking weed, and now y'all end up with the cops pulling you over, and now you get in an altercation with the cops. That's your fault. I'm sorry. People may not agree with me, but I'm going where he's going. Keep yourself out of trouble. He knew that when he stared that cop down, he said that cop came all the way back around. He realized that's where he went wrong. I'm not saying it the way he said it, but that's basically what he's saying now.
Yeah.
Shanti said, despite the fact that he had been told respect authority, you knew staring a cop down was a challenge. But you test the waters. Stop testing the waters. Keep yourself clear and out of danger. And maybe then you'll make it. Because if you can't make it, if there's a possibility that you won't make it, when you stay out of trouble, what you think gonna happen when you stay in trouble? Mm-hmm. Stay out of trouble. And nobody wants to hear that message. So Vivian says they missed the message. Well, guess what? They would miss the message regardless of who said it, regardless of when it was said, regardless of whether it was a personal testimony or not. They're missing the message because these are the same people that don't like authority themselves. Because all they're thinking about is, yo, this is what we've been doing and this is what they've been doing, and crazy. Keep your eye on the prize. Tammy says, how can we respect authority nowadays when they just killing us while being black? That's what they thinking now. Everyone wants to be the Black Panthers. Anika says, it's life and death against authority. Listen, the question is, how can we respect authority nowadays? Respect authority. That's the bottom line. Respect authority.
When you respect authority, you respect yourself. Yeah.
Right.
You respect yourself.
So
that's how you respect authority.
Right. I'm gonna throw this around into the crew. So Pastor Vinny, the answer's on you. How do you answer that question? How do we respect authority now? With the cops going buck wild, with them being out of control. We just got finished doing a story how the man was already handcuffed, and they beat him to death. How do we respect authority? Because see, that's the biggest question out here now. Oh, well now, how are we supposed to act? They doing this, they doing that. How do you answer that question, Pastor Vinny?
Pastor Steph, as old as I am, I've never been handcuffed. I've never been in a police car. I have never, and I mean, I've had all kinds of jobs, but my main thing is to stay out of the face of these cops. They don't care about me. They don't care about my future. But you know what? I care about my future. I care about my family. My objective, when I will leave in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, my objective is to get home the same way I left.
Amen.
I'm not gonna get all crazy. I don't have a gun. I'm not carrying a gun. Okay, I gotta take care of me, and where it makes sense. It gotta make sense. The problem with it is that these cops know that when they see a young fella and he's smoking weed or whatever, they got a target. Because they can come around to that same place and find that young man in the same condition every single day. So they got a target. They got a patsy. They got somebody who they could tag at any moment. We just get caught up in these cycles all the time. There was a young man that we knew. His father was a pastor and moved into a new area up in Queens. Yeah, and they were like the only black family on the block. But he wanted to walk the streets and smoke his weed. That's not gonna fly. So they started picking on him. Not picking on him, but they were telling him what the rules are in that area. So he couldn't talk to his father about the situation. He called us. He called me and Pastor Brenda. And we said, listen, if you want to smoke your weed, don't do it out in the open.
Right.
If you have to, don't do it out in the open. Don't make yourself a target. And that's what they do.
Right.
Listen, you are not going to win against these cops. You are not going to win.
Right.
As Shanti said, do you want to be right or dead? What's important to you? Is it more important for you to be right, or is it more important for you to be dead? Because those are the only two choices that you have. That's it.
Absolutely. Shantice, how do we answer the question? How can we respect authority now with the way they're behaving, with the way they're disrespectful, with the way they're treating us? That question comes out all the time. How are we supposed to act? How are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do?
We're supposed to act like a law-abiding citizen. It is. it is, really testy that even if you're not already naturally an aggressive person or something, you start to kind of already be traumatized before things happen. Like I had my friend just recently tell me, he's never been arrested. He's never anything. He's like, but God forbid if I'm driving and I hear sirens behind me, already my heart is palpitating. Like I'm already nervous because of, the climate we're in. We know how things can go from being 100% innocent to now all of a sudden you claiming I got a weapon and now you shooting and killing me on camera. They don't even care that the camera's out anymore. They've murdered people while the family members have had the cameras on them. There's just like no shame in it. At the same time, I believe the only thing that's really going to keep us level-headed is remembering what God says about authority and understanding that all authority is put in position by God. And when you understand who God is and what he stands for and what this world stands for, we understand that a lot of the authority that God is allowing to be in place now is in response to how we treat him as authority. As a whole, this world does not respect the ultimate authority, meaning God. So unfortunately, now it trickles down. Who's running this country? Saul. Who's going to be? So we're not going to have a president like Trump, but then have great law-keeping policemen. That's not going to work. No. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Because we know that Trump can't just make all the decisions by himself. There's levels to this. At the same time, he's sitting on top as of now. So you have to pay attention. Even putting it in everyday terms. If you have a really good principal, what is that principal going to do? That principal is going to ensure that his or her staff is on point. I'm not going to be a dynamic principal, but my teachers suck. My teachers are handing you your kid who's foaming at the mouth. No, because as a principal, I'm already hands-on. So I got to make sure my teachers, my janitor is hands-on. But if I got a principal who does nothing but sit in his or her office all day, then look at this kind of staff I'm going to have. Everybody's going to be lackadaisical. So we have to understand how God looks at it and thank the Lord that he's teaching us how to be law-abiding citizens, because that lessens the chances of us having to have any kind of run-in with the cop and keeping our attitude on point because, like Pastor Vinny said, and as a female, you can't even say, well, I'm safe because you got Breonna Taylor and all the other females who got murdered unjustly by these cops. So
Right.
as someone who can always act like there's a hostile situation, whenever I see a cop, if I ever look at a cop, it's hello, how are you? And it's not because I'm scared or anything like that, but it's also to show, like, listen, I don't know, a lot of y'all take these jobs, y'all want to make a home safe too. I will never understand that concept. At the same time, you're still a person like I'm a person. You're working your job, I could be on my way to my job or from my job. So at the end of the day, we're still all people. You still bleed like I bleed. You still hurt like I hurt. So we're all people. If I'm respecting you as a person who may be a little challenged, but you're still a person, you just happen to have this uniform on, you know, but we have to let go of all of that resentment. Because there are still a lot of decent cops out here, and unfortunately they just get balled up with all of the toxic cops that are out here. So just understanding who God is and respecting authority, and it's real stupid for us to get mad at that when we're not respecting God as the ultimate authority.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pastor KL, how do we answer that question?
Well, unlike Pastor Vinny, I've had a few bracelets on, you know, in my young days. You know, I've had a few of those bracelets, and I've been driven, you know, in a couple of the limos. You know what I mean? So I know how it feels to be escorted, and they open the door for me. You know what I mean? So that within itself is a scare straight situation for me. You know, after that, I didn't want to do that anymore. You know, but the other thing that I realized that I don't think people take in consideration is that some of these police should not have been police. They've been police because their daddy was a police and their grandfather was a police. They don't have the heart to be a police. So when I say that is that they're more intimidated by you than you are of them. So now they're trigger happy because if you flinch, you know, they're going to shoot you, you know, not because they have authority to shoot you, but because they're afraid of you. You know, if you get caught up by a scared cop, that's worse than a racist cop. You know, at least you know the racist cop it wants to kill you. He just wants to stay alive and he just wants to do his job, but he doesn't know how to do his job. And he's in this position because daddy said this is what you're going to do. You're in a line of police officers, so this is what you're going to do. And sometimes we got to stay away from that. You got to keep your hands clean. Listen, the other day I got pulled over, and I was like, why did I get pulled over? He was like, well, the turning signal was red. I said, no, it was yellow. And he said, oh, was it really? Well, I wasn't going to give you a ticket anyway. Let me just see your license. So he was just messing with me. He just wanted to see if I had license and insurance. That's all. He said, well, I wasn't going to give you a ticket anyway, but I just need to know if you were clear to drive. I said, you can have anything you want. You know, we're not going to argue. You know, and then he went back. He said, you know what? I did look on the camera. It was yellow. I apologize. So we just become targets. You know, I'm a big black man in a truck. You know what I mean? So we become targets. Of course, you know, he comes to the right side of the car and he looks into the car without even saying anything to you. You know, and then he tells you what he pulled over for. So we got to be careful. We got to keep our way out of nonsense. You know, keep your way out of it. Come up from among them and be ye separated is what the word says. We got to keep ourselves out of nonsense. If you know Pookie is into no good, I'm not hanging with Pookie. Guess what? Pookie, I can't even give Pookie a ride down the block. I can't. You can't come in my car because I don't know what you got in your pockets. You know what I mean? And now we both have it in our pockets. You know what I mean? Now you got contraband, but now he's splitting the contraband. Oh, I found two of them in his and two of them. No, we ain't doing that.
Right.
Pookie, you've been walking all this time? Get some more exercise. Get some more exercise. Keep walking. Walking is good for you. Make sure you have lots of water. It's hot out here, but keep walking.
You know, Pastor KL, I have said the same thing. My thing is, you know what? You can pay me to be a cop out here now. I don't care how much money you were offering me. you can pay me, because they have reason to be on edge. They have reason.
Yeah.
You have some that are straight crazy and they're not supposed to be cops. If you look at some of these cops, they look like babies. They look like babies. It's like, what do you, if you wanted to be a cop and it wasn't even from your family lineage, like, what are you doing out here? You look like you need to be in grammar school somewhere. You know, you don't pose no threat. You stop. Just go be a teacher or something. Do police officer work? No. But this world is crazy. These criminals, these mentally ill people, they are crazy. And if you are a cop that is on the up and up, and you ain't trigger happy, man, what you have to contend with is a lot. And you couldn't pay me to be a cop out here. I'm sorry, that's just a profession. That just have to be left to somebody else, because it just couldn't be me. If they said that we need one more cop and you would be the one who would save the world, you know what I'm gonna do?
Say, I thought Jesus came and did that.
Right, they say, I'm talking to you, because they ain't talking to me. There's only two of us. I'm looking over and I'm pointing. No, that's you. That's not me. I teach the Bible. That's it. Sorry. No, that's your job. No, there's no way in the world. And I have said that for years. You know, these cops are in a precarious position. When you look at some of the stuff that they have to contend with, you going down a dark alley chasing somebody? Oh, absolutely not. No.
Wait, I told you how my friend was a CO and an inmate escaped from the prison. And they were in the field, hiding in different places, trying to see if they could find him. She said, he ran right past me. I watched him run. And I said, y'all got that. I ain't chasing him in no field.
Y'all got that.
She said it was dark out there. They all had their weapons, of course. She said, but I don't remember if she said they said like he's coming your way or wherever she was. She said, all I saw was him fly past me. I looked right on. I said, y'all got that. Shortly after that, she quit. She said, that's it. She quit the correction officer career altogether. She ain't switched prisons. She quit. She was like, because if this is what it means, I gotta do.
Yeah.
No, everybody's gonna get away. I ain't chasing nobody in no dark field. And she the one with the weapon. No. But no, that's just right. Too much.
No, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much out here. It is not just bad cops out here. They're good cops out here. And what y'all have to contend with, y'all can have it. That's all right. If I can't be no doctor or lawyer, then I just can't go down in the family business. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be the disappointment. Remember yesterday they said that you shouldn't say, I'm disappointed in you. That's exactly what they would be saying.
Disappointed in me. No, because that's what we say now. Well, you about to be disappointed in me because that's what we
I'm
say.
sorry. I'm not living up to that one. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. My time crew, thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Be blessed, folks. Love you.
All right. Thank you. Love you too. All right. Let's get this benediction. 2 John 3, grace, mercy, and peace, inner calm, a sense of spiritual well-being will be with us from God the Father and from Jesus Christ, the Father's Son, in truth and love. Amen. You know, we talked about what does the Bible say? What does God say? That's always my question. That's my tagline. Pastor Steph's tagline. What does God say? What did God say? Well, what does God say about respecting authority? Hebrews 13:17. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you. Now, in this, the first thing people think about is the pastor, is the leader of the church. But that's for our president. Yeah. So he doesn't have a watch over my soul. In a sense, he does. In a sense, he does. All right. Another scripture, Romans 13:1. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. There you have it. Teach your children to respect authority, because that's what they're supposed to do. So when he kind of veered off into and make sure you do your taxes properly. Again, he was talking to the adults. In other words, I'm not just talking to you about how you handle your children. I'm talking about how you handle your business as well. Let me tell you something. If you don't teach your children how to respect authority, they will be doomed until the day God closes their eyes. And the lack of authority might dictate how their eyes get closed. Paying attention? Yeah. Because that's how it goes down. My thing is, when you teach your children to respect you, you're automatically teaching them to respect authority. Anyone who is in an authoritative position. So in other words, my parents didn't have to teach me to just obey and respect them. All they had to do was let me know for one time that anyone on my level, they don't have to be your mother, they don't have to be your father, but anyone on my level, that meant a teacher, that meant another adult in the building, that meant another adult on the street, on the bus, the bus driver, the train conductor, anyone who was above you, you automatically respected. It wasn't you didn't have to get a sermon in church about teaching your children how to respect authority. Are you kidding me? No, because that's something that you were just taught from the beginning, because you respected your parents. Now we all know that from the beginning of time, everybody knows respect their parents. We know that, because everybody ain't gonna follow the rules. Everybody's not gonna want to be told what to do. Everybody's not going to be disciplined. But here's the thing. If you cannot respect the authority you see, you're definitely not going to respect God or Jesus, because you can't see them. You have no respect for them. Who are they? Who are they to tell you what to do? Who are they to tell you how to do things? That's why nobody wants to go to church. That's why nobody wants to have a relationship with God, because there are rules. And when it comes to rules, nobody wants to obey. It doesn't work like that. No matter what, and this is what I've always told my girls, I don't care how old you get. I could be dead and gone. You are going to have to obey and respect authority. You own this house. Guess what? You don't own the house. Your name might be on it, but there are still governing things, laws, rules, people that will tell you certain things you can and cannot do. I don't care how much you pay for that house. You will have to work. Guess what? You're going to have to respect authority. If you retire, guess what? You're going to have to respect authority. If you want to drive, you're going to have to respect authority. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter how old you are, you're going to have to respect authority. You know, we understand that authority is out of control, completely out of control. However, that does not stop what we are obligated to do. And you will find that when you obey authority, the inner you feels better. Yeah. It doesn't matter how anybody else respects that. You feel better about you. At least I know I'm right. I remember my grandmother used to always say, no matter what happens, make sure you're right. I don't care what happens. I don't care what they do. Make sure you're right. You be like, Grandma, make sure you're right. That's always tell us. Make sure no matter what you do, make sure, I don't care what happens, make sure you're right. And that's what obeying authority is about. Making sure that you are respectful. That's what God has told us to do. Be respectful. Did you hear what that verse said? It says no one is in authority except who's been put there by God. So eat it. And you have to learn how to navigate. And this is why I say you need the Spirit of the Lord. Because where the Spirit of the Lord would tell you to be quiet, you got that other person standing next to you that's just mouthing off. Like the person who was doing the commentating in the video that we didn't show you. Because I'm not showing you somebody mouthing off or giving you a reason to mouth off or going there on. No, I'm not showing you that if I'm trying to prove a point. No, because we know how everybody can mouth off. And that's all people think about. But we have to think greater than that. We have to think greater than that. You know, a lot of people have problems with their parents. When their parents do wrong, they stop being respectful. No, there's no clause on that. In the Bible, it says obey and honor your father and your mother. Now, it does say in the Lord, don't do things that they tell you is wrong, but you still have to be respectful. You can respectfully not do what they're telling you to do if you know it's wrong. You still can be respectful. But because people have not learned to be respectful to their parents, or you can forget about being respectful to the authority, period. So come on, let's get this done right. I know it's hard, people. I know it's hard. But if you stand and do what God has told you to do, I'm not saying you won't run into problems, because that would be a lie. Because I can't dictate what will happen and what won't happen. But what I will tell you is God got your back. God's got your back. And it does not mean that things won't happen to us, but it does mean that God will never leave you nor forsake you. He is a man of his word. So make sure you're a person of your word. You've been listening to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us do what we do. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Wow Wednesday. Until then, I love you.